I don't know if I had the same motive as him.
Yes.
So in terms of treating that pain, I do want to dig into that a little bit more.
Sure.
But you had mentioned braces, sleeves, and then here's a big one: KT tape. What are your thoughts on KT tape? Because I see some guys in the gym that look like they're wrapped in a cocoon, and I'm like, and it's every single day. From my understanding, it's supposed to be temporary.
100%. All those external devices, braces, sleeves, tape, orthotics in your shoes, unless there's a pathology, it should be a temporary type of thing. Yeah. I use KT tape. I think it has a place. Now, what the product makers, I would imagine, are saying it does, I don't think it does.
What are they claiming?
There was an, I don't know if, I think it was KT tape, would say that there's a way to tape a muscle to facilitate, and there's a way to tape a muscle to inhibit. So that means turn a muscle on, turn a muscle off. So if I taped somebody on their shoulder, if I went from bottom to top, that would facilitate it. It would turn it on. But if I taped top to bottom, it would shut it off and relax it. We can't manipulate the body that well. It's too smart.
Okay. So when people are trying to shut off the activation of a muscle, are they trying to fix a muscular imbalance?
That's a good question. I don't think it's an imbalance that they're trying to fix. I think let's go back to the smash the thumb situation we talked about. So I said, if we wrapped our hand around the thumb when it was injured, the proprioceptive or the touch, the sensory nerves in there will go back and tell the brain, hey, there's something going on here, but there's a lot going on here. I can't tell what it is. So KT tape does have a proprioceptive benefit. So let's say, for example, there was swelling in your ankle, and I've got some great pictures I'll show you of an employee of mine was out hanging out with kids, rolled his ankle really bad. We got swelling down in 3 to 4 days. Got him walking. It was probably the fastest treatment on ankle injuries that I've been able to do. He did great. 2 weeks, 100%, no problems. I used KT tape. I didn't use the bleach tape or the wrapping tape or a couple of those stirrup devices or those stirrup straps and wrap them down. You're familiar with those? Yeah. We didn't do any of that. We were able to do meat. I didn't ice him. I told him to ice that day. And then he came back into me. So then we got him doing movement. We did you're probably familiar with a voodoo floss. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Where you almost take like a rubber band and you take that rubber band and wrap the joint. You wrap it and then you move and mobilize the joint.
Okay.
And then you take that brace off and you're kind of pushing the fluid out of the area there. So you go from like, if this is my foot and ankle, I'm going to wrap around the toes all the way up. Do some movement to help pull some of that fluid out of the area, unwrap it, do some movement, wrap it, do it again, and you're going to try to get that joint to mobilize just a little bit.
Okay. And speaking of very tight, I guess, products, what about blood flow restriction bands? What are your thoughts on those?
Love it.
Really?
Well, our bodybuilders were doing it way back in the day, and they were just taking bands and wrapping it around their muscles. And I think one of the comments that I had heard is they liked the pump. Because you restrict blood flow, you manipulate the brain. Brain thinks that there's an increased load that's occurring there, and so it will send the needed elements there to repair and rebuild. So let's go back to our ACL person again. So I work really, really closely with an orthopedic surgeon in town. He does a ton of ACL reconstructions, and that's one of his protocols. Blood flow restriction has to be used at the onset of physical therapy, 6 weeks post-operative. So we put a constrictive band that blows up. It's basically a blood pressure cuff. You put that blood pressure cuff around the proximal thigh, way up high. We inflate it to where there is a reduction in flow, and you can take a Doppler and you can kind of get real scientific about it. As long as you get a good restriction, there'll be a little purple of the extremity, just a little bit, but then you can manipulate them and go, hey, just do a leg lift for me 30 times, and they feel like they're lifting the world. So it is a great manipulative device. So then remember how that quad will atrophy, right? Well, we've just now manipulated the brain to think it's taking a load and really working hard. So the brain will say, we have to recruit more motor units. Let's go in there, let's get them turned on, and then the atrophy will go away faster than not using it. And that's what they've deemed in the research.
So it sounds like these can be used by individuals